Everyone wants deep, long-term, connected relationships. I love relationships. I love people. And I'm always fascinated with how different our relationships are from person to person. So the ones that are on the periphery or sort of acquaintances or whatever, those are different. What I'm talking about here is long-term, deep, connected relationships. How do you know you truly are in a deep, connected relationship? Or what's sort of one of the hallmarks? One of the biggest hallmarks is being able to give and receive feedback, negative feedback. So if we are best friends, right? And we claim to be best friends and in a deep, long-term, committed relationship, we've known each other for 20 years, whatever, then we both have to have the ability to provide negative feedback, speak honestly, and not be afraid to be that vulnerable. And the reason I say vulnerable is because if I tell you something negative, well, you could just react negatively, and you could yell at me, you could hit me. We have to be careful who we provide feedback to. If I feel safe enough, comfortable enough in our relationship to provide negative feedback to you, true negative feedback, really stuff that will make the other person uncomfortable, I'm exposing myself. It's sort of like an animal exposing their soft underbelly, because you could then jump down my throat for giving you this feedback. You could turn on me, anything, right? So I'm putting the trust in you and in our relationship that you won't stab me in my soft underbelly when I'm sort of leave myself vulnerable to your attack. If I say, hey, you shouldn't be drinking, and you tell me, shut up, I don't want to hear it, or whatever, or you cuss me out, maybe that's not something that I'm going to tell you again. I guarantee you, I'm not going to say it again. But if I say, hey, you told me you didn't want to be drinking during the week, and maybe you continue to drink, but you accept it, you don't shoot the messenger, and I come from a place of love and caring, because maybe you told me, I shouldn't be drinking during the week, but you are, and that I know you've already expressed the fact that you want a different future. So I'm simply there to remind you and sort of be your friend, truly. We all understand this, right? But so many people are not able to accept criticism. And by being so unwilling to accept criticism, even if they completely disagree with it, even if it's something that they don't see, maybe I tell them that they come across too harsh. And they're like, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm saying whatever I'm saying as nice as possible, and that's fine. That's their experience. But I have to be honest with them, and I can only be responsible for my own part. So I can speak my mind without demands or expectations that you will change, and really without judgments, because you may not be meaning to speak, roughly, but I take it that way. But I also have to speak my mind. And I have to feel safe enough to be able to be vulnerable and tell you that what you just said sounded grumpy or hurt my feelings, even if you didn't mean it. That's how I took it. All those things. And I have to feel like you're not going to blow up on me more than the negative feelings you've already created. And the biggest thing is that if you avoid opening up and being vulnerable to others by providing negative feedback to them, disagreeing with them, while still feeling completely safe in that relationship not ending over your providing that feedback, then you build connection, deep long-term connection. And if you don't provide feedback because that person is either unwilling to hear it or accept it in a normal, non-confrontational way, or you're just somebody who's used to avoiding and brushing things under the rug, minimizing problems and pretending like they don't exist, and not being vulnerable, instead erecting walls and sort of self-protection mechanisms and ignoring or avoiding, then you're not building genuine, true, long-term connection. And I guarantee you that relationship will not last the very next time there truly is some sort of a big event that's negative. At least it's much shakier. If you have a relationship that has survived a good amount of negative feedback and trials and tribulations, and you can both count on each other to be there, not leave that relationship if it gets difficult, because you know that you both genuinely want the best for each other. You're building amazing, deep bridges of connection into the future. And the opposite goes for the opposite type of relationship. If you avoid, you don't confront, and confront, I mean, obviously, non-violently. You don't provide feedback, you brush things under the rug, you ignore, you avoid. You're manipulating that relationship into feeling positive when it's really positive when it's positive and avoided when it's negative, right? Brushed under the rug or avoided or whatever. So you're sort of guaranteeing there are no bridges being built. You're guaranteeing that that relationship eventually will show its instability. Life just has a way of doing that. It might take 10 years, it might take whatever, but it'll be more painful, more of a waste of time that you've spent all this time building this false relationship that's built on, it's a house of cards. It's not built with concrete, it's built with bullshit. So remember how important negative feedback is from those you love and care about. You need to provide it, and they need to provide it to you, and you need to accept it without making them feel like you're going to stab them in their soft, vulnerable underbelly. And what the biggest thing you want to do is always kind of go over the fact that this conversation is important to me. I want to bring this up. This is not easy. Express how you feel. That person will have empathy for you if they know this is a difficult thing for you to say. If they think you're just being flippant and saying, oh, you smoke too much. Why are you always smoking or whatever? Well, that doesn't feel very empathetic. If you say, look, I really feel like I'm bugging you and I don't want to be, but I really care about your health. And so I want you to know this is really uncomfortable for me, but I wouldn't be somebody who cared about you if I didn't say that you need to not smoke. And I know you don't really want to smoke, but it's hard to get off. So that comes across different. So as long as you sort of upfront say, this is difficult for me, here's my feelings I'm experiencing, but I wouldn't be able to say that I care unless I actually said something to you, because I want you to have a better future. And then that person, must sort of be mature and also swallow their pride or whatever, and know that is love. That is how love is truly shown. It's easy to show love when you're happy and whatever. It's just fun times and good times all around. You show love when it's difficult.